Today is the 22nd Sunday of the year. Our gospel text is Luke chapter 14, verses 7 through 14. Luke reports on an evening in which Jesus goes as the guest of a Pharisee to share a meal. And he's clearly not the only guest. And we know that, and we know that the atmosphere is fraught, as it generally was when Jesus encountered the Pharisees, because of the verb that Luke uses. It's translated here in the New Revised Standard Version as, they were watching him closely. Actually, peritoreo is the Greek verb, and it means something a little bit harsher than that, something like watching scrupulously with a hint of malice to find something out about the person that's not good, a chink in their armour. We have a good intimation or indication of how Jesus thought of the religious authorities when he describes the scribes in chapter 20, verse 6. And he says, beware of these people. They like to walk around in long robes. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces. And they love the best seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. So Jesus, I think, is going to do something immensely ironic, to tear the mask off, to expose the game playing, the status seeking, the competition for recognition that is just so much a part of their lives. So he, in effect, says, if you really want to be top dog, why don't you take the lowest seat so that when the master comes in, he'll make you move to the top table. Whereas if you sit at the top table, you may be deeply embarrassed, humiliated, in fact, in front of your colleagues. And that wouldn't do, would it? What Jesus is, in effect, saying here is get real. Real people don't behave like this. This is pretentious behavior. This is seeming rather than being. Real love is not a transaction. It's a relationship. We love, if it's real, for nothing. We don't expect anything in return. God's rules for loving are the ones we seek to be part of. God loves unmerited, unendingly, everywhere, all people, all the time. And this is brought out in the call to love your enemies, love those who persecute you. It's a tough call, not one that human beings are capable of, actually. In him, we are capable of it. When Christ possesses us, takes hold of us, as St. Paul says to the Philippians, then he loves through us. He finds a place into the world through our being in the flesh. Now, it is inevitable, it is necessary that infants undergo their formation by being shaped by their parents or a surrogate adult. They need this for security. But is it not true that as we grow up, we grow out of that? That we don't need others to shape our lives for us, to tell us that we're really okay, to give us status and recognition and standing, which we translate into identity. I don't exist until I've got that affirmation from you. What I'm talking about here is deep maturity. This is not just something that you acquire easily, something that comes over time and quite possibly till the end of our days. It will sting us if people disapprove of us, don't recognize us, rob us of our status. But generally speaking, if we can't outgrow the infantile need and inevitability of others shaping our lives, would it not be true to say that we haven't grown up? That our sophistication, our success socially, our being adults, apparently, masks a certain infantilism. Jesus calls us to be adults, to find within ourselves the calling that we are, made in the image and likeness of God, as people who can surrender to God's love embodied in Jesus Christ, so that God lives in us and God does in us and through us what God does best. He loves.